All right, welcome to Take Two. Andre Sr. here along with Sal Castaneda. Thank you for joining us. We want to get to the big story of the day, which is that big fire up in Calistoga area. Devin Truby, she has been up there. She was at the command center and she was at the meeting that was held earlier. And just a reminder, we are streaming on YouTube. You can comment live and ask questions to us, and we'll try to get those answered for you. But right now, let's get over to Devin Truby. Devin, you were at that command center meeting today. It's a difficult firefight, to say the least, and there's 0% containment. So what is happening now? What's the plan of attack for fire crews?
Yeah, 0% containment from what we saw yesterday in the early evening hours, only about 1,200 acres. You add in the evening and then overnight hours, now to be at 2,100 acres, kind of shows the difficulty of the firefight ahead. The first thing they have to tackle is the weather. So the fire getting very active yesterday afternoon because our temperatures were very hot. We have the heat advisory. The relative humidity drops down very low, almost to about 20%, and that allows the fire to grow very quickly, which is why the crews were out early this morning. And they also fought the fire all night long with 3 helicopters utilizing night vision goggles to continue to do fire suppression with water drops, but also the dozers cut line all last night while it was a bit cooler. They're trying to make the most of these cooler conditions right now. A lot of the crews already out there on the fire lines working. The second issue with this fire is the difficult, deep, steep terrain. So in many of these areas, they have to bulldoze their way in first, then bring in the apparatus, and then the crews will have to run the line or cut by hand if they can't bring in the equipment. That's also why the air attack is so crucial for this firefight. With that terrain, much of it inaccessible, they need to rely on the water drops. CAL FIRE are bringing in multiple aircraft tonight, 9 planes, 8 helicopters available for the firefight today. Plan of attack: get a good containment line around that heel and prevent the fire from kind of offshooting into multiple flanks and getting those runs into different communities.
Devin, you said something earlier in your reporting where, because the state does not have a lot of fires going on, more resources are available for this fight, and I assume that's helping get this containment.
Yeah, so we initially heard that CAL FIRE Sonoma Lake Napa unit that's handling this fire, they actually sent some crews to the Coyote fire before the Pickett fire broke out. So I had asked the question about resource management. Had they brought those crews back up from the Sacramento area to fight their own fire? They said they were actually able to successfully fill all of those positions, backfill and bring people in. All the apparatus are being operated. We've now seen crews come in from Hayward, Fremont, Alameda County, as far away from Kern County. The number of firefighters on the fire yesterday, around 200. This morning, 435 firefighters working the incident.
Devin, I wondered during that press conference, was there any expression of optimism about getting this fire under control? Because we did have fire weather over the last day, and in that area possibly today as well. While down here in Oakland it's cloudy, I think it's pretty sunny outside. What are the conditions there like, and whether the officials there shared any optimism about getting this thing under control?
Well, we can show you conditions outside as I learn all the buttons here. There you go.
Yeah,
this is what you're seeing. Much different, a little bit hazy, sunny already as well. Seeing temperatures push into the 70s early in the morning hours, so already warm. I would say some optimism. They feel fresh. We talked to Brian Ham, who is the incident commander. He said they feel very fortunate that this is somewhat the first bigger fire of the season up here for them to handle. So they're feeling refreshed, somewhat rested in that regard, but also they want to get out there and they want to be aggressive. Is pretty much their plan of attack with this fire. Make the inroads now, get control. They also have some decent control. For many people, they might remember the glass fire of 2020, which burned in this exact same area. The Pickett fire now burning some parts of that burn scar that remains from the glass fire. So with that, they already have some dozier lines in place. They can go back and recut into those. So some inroads have already been made. Also, a lot of vegetation management has already been done in this area. So there is less fuel to burn and less fuel left over after having the 2020 fire. We have no structures damaged right now, only a handful in the fire's path that are considered threatened at this point in time.
Did they give you...
I would take that as a sign of optimism.
Did they give you any idea, Devin, of where they expect to be later today? 20% containment, for example, 30%, maybe more or less?
You never forecast really possible containment. That's not really something that I've ever seen CAL FIRE do because you just don't know how the fire is going to go. The chief did mention that the fire could stand up later in the day, afternoon, like it did yesterday, depending upon the weather. So, CAL FIRE never really promises containment or anything like that in what I have experienced.
I just want to let people know the officials closed the community center and directed evacuees needing overnight shelter to the Crosswalk Community Church at 2590 First Street in Napa. Do we have any update on the number of people that are evacuated and the number of people that have to prepare to evacuate?
So we do know that there have been a few additional evacuation orders that have been put in place, and that's for the, if I'm saying this correctly, Atina area on the north and south. That's been added in the last hour, so that is something that is new. That's pretty much all the information I have for you on that one, Andre.
The power situation there for residents, PG&E, a few years ago they launched the Power Sticky Power Shutoff. I'm sure PG&E was there at the command center. Did you hear anything from them? Any update from them?
We did see someone from PG&E at the command center. No updates or information. I didn't ask. I attended several CAL FIRE briefings and focused majority on the fire.
All right. Devin Truby reporting for us live up in Napa, where the Calistoga fire continues to rage. 0% containment this morning, burning in the same area as a glass fire back in 2020. So we do have those burn scars in that area that technically should help the firefight.
Less fuel is what she said.
Yeah,
That's
less. Interesting
that at the very least, the fires have already made a big scar, so
Yeah, so you wouldn't burn over, those if you've ever been up there, which I have, covering some of the fires, it wouldn't encroach in that area, so it's actually sort of good news.
It made me think of how fire season has changed over the years, Andre, from it being occasionally you got big fires to every year you get a big fire.
Every year you get a big fire. I will say, because of the late start to summer, I think we had less.
A little bit of a break.
Right now.
Yep.
Now, depending on how the weather system stretches into the next few months, we'll see what happens there.
Exactly.
But we've seen this start much earlier in years past.
Right.
And that is scary. When I start to see the hills turning brown, I start to worry.
Right.
Because I've been up there covering these fires. Your clothes smelling of smoke. So I'm always concerned about that. So it was certainly some good news. I know a lot of people don't necessarily like the cooler weather, but it actually is much better for us.
Helping us fire-wise.
Yeah,
that's right.
2,100 acres burned, 0% containment. We'll, of course, keep following it. We'll have more for you at KTVU.com and on the news at noon as well. You're watching Take Two. We're going to be back right after this. All right, welcome back to Take Two. Andre Cini here along with Sal Castaneda. One of the stories that just stunning this morning is that FBI raid on John Bolton's home and office in Washington, D.C. I believe we have live pictures. This is his home there. The FBI raided his Maryland home and Washington offices earlier today. Bolton, as you might remember, was the Trump administration, in the first Trump administration, the national security advisor to the president. The investigation is into the handling of classified documents. This is according to the AP, a person close to the matter talking about this. And if you've watched, network news over the last, several years, Bolton has been an outspoken critic of Trump after he was fired in 2019 and feuded with the first Trump administration, even writing some remarks in a scathing book documenting his time at the White House. He is, to say the least, no fan of the White House, which is unusual to say because Bolton is he's very outspoken. Let's just leave
he's
it
also very conservative, and you would have figured that John Bolton
would have worked well
with Donald Trump, but working with President Trump, sometimes
comes with its own.
It's like it's President Trump's way or the highway.
Yeah.
The two men did not agree, but I think that some people would say that since he's become such an outspoken critic of President Trump, that maybe that's why the raids were there. But I will say this. Yeah. The Biden administration began the investigation into leaks that may or may not be associated with John Bolton. So when the Biden administration started investigating, it didn't go any farther. Now Trump's Justice Department is...
Well, it should be pointed out here that this is seemingly the most significant public step by the Justice Department to go after someone that is a critic of the president. However, since this was started under the Biden administration, it's investigation, you can't necessarily draw a direct link. It may indeed be because of some criminal investigation, but then the fact that he's a critic, which the president is known not to.
You kind of wonder, this is just wondering whether or not if John Bolton would have gone away quietly if this would be happening. You wonder that.
Well, you have to, you have to ask those questions.
You don't know.
Even as journalists, you think about it, but someone watching from home would think, the very same thing. You're right. Would this have happened?
I mean, he's seemingly on CNN with Anderson Cooper
all the time.
Every night.
Yeah, every night.
Every night. It's like, and there he is, and he's very no nonsense. Now, again, conservatives also disagree. So I guess it's not that unusual that President Trump has critics on the right as well. But here we are.
Yeah, here we are. Well, let's move on to this story right now. Big story happening down right now. Eric and Lyle Menendez, they are the brothers accused in the sentence in 1996 for the 1989 killing of their parents. You see their picture right here. They went into their Beverly Hills mansion of their parents, Kitty and Jose Menendez. Apparently shot them in the head with a shotgun. Netflix made a movie about it. There have been documentaries. The case has just been in the spotlight for a couple of years now. And the former district attorney here in San Francisco, George Gascon, was in Los Angeles, became the district attorney there before being voted out of office recently, and he wanted to start looking into the case. He started going national and talking about it when the Menendez brothers were asking for some sort of leniency in their life sentence without the possibility of parole. And then we had one of the brothers go in for a parole hearing yesterday, Eric Menendez, and he was actually denied.
That crossed at about 6 o'clock last night.
Posted about 6 o'clock last night. So Lyle is in today. So tell us, you spoke to the folks at TMZ who've been following this pretty closely earlier.
Yeah,
tell us what you learned.
When I found out that I was going to be speaking to them, I wanted to have an informed opinion. But, a lot of people, they kind of hear it. But for you and I, we remember it, right? So once I started reading about it, I started remembering, Andre,
like some of the details.
How captivating this was.
It was.
When you look at these boys, they were 18.
This was a trial, right? It was this is when trials were televised. And,
18 and 21 when it happened. Now 54 and 57 years old. Lyle is the older one. He's the one who is having the parole hearing today. Eric is 54. Both of them are asking to be released after serving more than 30 years in prison. if that doesn't happen, and I think a lot of the people who we've talked to who are experts say, you know, they kind of come as a team. Eric was denied parole. It's very likely today that Lyle will be denied parole, but that's not the end. Their lawyers are arguing for a new trial. They're arguing on a bunch of technicalities. This is not going away. Ultimately, no matter what the parole board decides, Governor Gavin Newsom will have the final say.
Right.
And a lot of the political experts are saying there's no way he releases them during this time because of the political decision, right? He's going to stay out.
I definitely can see that, especially when you have an administration that was, you know, supported by a good chunk of the voting public here about, you know, making sure people pay for their crimes. That's what's in you know, so people do want a balance between, you know, people paying for their crimes and people being rehabilitated for their crimes. So that is something we're going to have to see. We took a poll, and if we could show it up there on the screen real quick on our website, it's on my laptop. Do you think the Menendez brothers should be released from prison? And, you know, it's closer than I thought it would be. It says here, yes, 41%, they should be released, and 59% of you say no from our poll this morning that we've been asking since around 7:30. But Sal, does that surprise you, the numbers?
You know, it doesn't, because while people want people to be rehabilitated, these are convicted murderers, right? So the crime, and it's out there, we certainly wouldn't show it, but if you look hard enough, you see some of the pictures of the crime scene.
They were presented in court, if I remember correctly.
It's pretty gruesome, right? So a lot of people say, yes, the attitudes we've had on sexual abuse from 1989 to 2025 have changed, but still it doesn't change the fact that these two men murdered their parents in cold blood. There are other remedies for coming out against abuse. These are still two convicted murderers. And, you know, so a lot of people are probably going to say, no, you ended someone's life. You should not be on the street.
Your parents' life. I mean, it was a very violent way, but there is also the issues of sexual abuse that the family said.
And new evidence, to be fair, has come out, which has given credibility to their claims of sexual abuse. But
family members,
family members. But still, that doesn't, you know, obviously doesn't mean in a lot of people's minds it doesn't matter, because you still committed a violent act. But it's interesting, Andre, because the family members who are there, the Menendez brothers family members who originally were very distraught by what happened and were against them being released, have changed their tune after they've been spending 30 years in prison. I think public opinion with the Netflix documentary, Kim Kardashian has written letters. So the public opinion has brought it to the forefront.
I just want to take people inside Eric's parole hearing. It lasted 10 hours. 10 hours. Officials questioned him on rehabilitation and listened to arguments from Los Angeles County District Attorney's Office against his release, as well as pleas from members of his family in favor of this. Before they blocked decision, and this is a quote here about what they said. They think that Eric quote, poses an unreasonable risk to public safety. It went on to say, if released, listing his teenage criminal history, the brutality of the 1989 killings, the serious violations of prison rules is one of the other reasons as well.
Right.
And, you know, he may be eligible for parole again in 3 years. I think we were chatting about this a little bit earlier.
Right.
About the fact that, you know, every 3 years this is going to come up and they're going to be able to once again try and see.
And a lot of people have said, Andre, that the Menendez brothers wouldn't even be getting this attention hadn't it been for the documentary and for Kim Kardashian, and a lot of people who are in similar situations do not get this chance.
But let me ask you this question. There had to be some rallying on the outside for this to have happened, wasn't there? I mean, it just didn't randomly. I mean, yes, this case did grab national attention. I mean, I just watched another documentary on the whole O.J. Simpson thing on Netflix again the other day, and I don't know what it is. There have been many documentaries, but I keep watching them for some reason. I'm just intrigued by it because, you know, I experienced it I was young at the time, but it was a big deal. So what caused this thing to bubble back up to the top again, that it's getting the national spotlight that it is?
I don't know.
Any other person that's locked up behind bars that has actually committed this crime, who have also been through sexual abuse and ended up committing criminal acts, why don't they get the same the same, the same courtesy of
do you
doing
want
these
an
things.
opinion? I think I have it. I think that these boys were 18 and 21, living in Beverly Hills at the time. They're wealthy people.
I mean, it's a case of privilege. Is
It's
what you're saying.
a privilege. They were wealthy people then. The story captivated a lot of people. It was another big trial. You remember it, right?
Yep.
And so here we are again. It has murder. It has sex. It has money. The two boys at the time were considered good-looking, whatever, and the Beverly Hills connection. So, let's say someone from maybe a less privileged background wouldn't have the attention. That's not fair,
Right.
but that's what it is.
But I know that's what it is, but I always think about the others, people who are locked up.
Yeah, I don't think it's fair.
Other people who are locked up. This is just the way the world works, right? I realize this is how the world works. But yeah, I do feel it for the people who are locked in jail for the rest of their lives and never get the opportunity that these guys get, who have been through very similar circumstances.
Yeah.
I mean, many people in jail have also been victims of sexual abuse, end up committing criminal acts. This is not a good thing.
Critics have said exactly what you said over the last week.
Yeah, all right. Taking one last look at our poll, if you think the Menendez brothers should be released, well, Eric's not getting released for right now. Lyle, on the other hand, he is in.
He could be.
He could be. We'll see. One brother could be released, one might not. We'll see what the parole board decides, and if a decision comes down today, we'll be back right after this. All right, new study came out, looked into, is it wrong to date a coworker?
It's not legally wrong. It's probably not against the rules at many companies, but I wouldn't do it.
You wouldn't do it?
Because I've done it, and it's turned terrible.
All right.
I was younger, but I wouldn't recommend it.
The risks are real. Workplace romances can spark gossip, create perceptions of favoritism, blur professional boundaries, and in some cases lead to reputational harm, career setbacks, and harassment claims. I'm not gonna lie. I mean, I've done it. I've kept it under the radar. For that reason, because you don't want, you don't want your business out there,
right?
And you know how workplaces, everyone can gossip,
right? And it's really problematic when it happens when one of the person is in your boss, right?
You see what Ken's pointing to, right? You can't see the person's face.
There you go.
This person's married to someone else in the newsroom. Her partner, works in the newsroom as well. They seem to get along just fine.
I hope she doesn't see us.
I hope
she's
I
going to kill us.
I know she is going to murder us later. Yeah,
All right, good. Yeah, get away from anyone. Let's not show anyone.
All right, believe it or not, this study found that these relationships can actually carry benefits. Let's read some off to you. Positive effects include greater job satisfaction. There you go, Sal.
When it's going well.
That's true. Yeah, you make a point. Stronger teamwork.
Yeah.
When it's going well. Improved morale. When it's going well.
Again, when it's going well.
So, you know, smart, here's some of the recommendations I give you. Smart navigation is key. Experts recommend reflecting on motivations, knowing workplace. So, you know, it says, reflect on your motivations. Right, Ken, in the control room? Knowing workplace rules, being transparent when required, and setting clear boundaries and planning ahead in case the relationship ends.
That's the one that
That's
it's like
it.
planning ahead when the relationship ends.
Yes.
That's enough to make me not want to do that. I mean, fortunately.
So think about, so you start with that first. That's your leading thing when you talk to someone in the newsroom.
What if this goes south?
What if this goes south? I usually do think of it that way. And I do not need those problems in the newsroom. You know how we are. Journalists, everyone wants to talk about. Yeah, that's what we do. All we do is talk to people all day and gather information. Yeah, you don't want to be.
I think it's easier not to. I mean, that's just one man. That's one man talking. That's one man.
The older I get, the less I want to do something like that. All right. Thanks so much for joining us here on Take Two. We're going to have much more news at KTVU.com and the new newscast as well. You can catch it on the Fox Local app on Channel 2 as well. Thank you all so much for joining us. Also on the YouTube live stream as well. We'll see you next time. Thank you, Cam Cleveland, for commenting.
Are we stranded? We're running out of water!
Hey, guys, I've got AAA.
When you're a AAA member, you're covered in anyone's car.
Mornings on 2 is hitting the road for a Fox Local zip trip to Brentwood.
I love Brentwood for the downtown.
It's a wonderful community.
We have trails everywhere.
A 1930s movie palace stepping back into the spotlight. We'll take you inside the Delta with its iconic Art and Deco marquee, all lovingly restored by a local.
For us, it was like we didn't want to see this theater go by the wayside.
Then eat, drink, and unwind. From an old school elegance to ice cold IPAs. It's an East Bay city where flavor and community go hand in hand.
This is like Cheers. It's family. It's everybody knows your name.
As Mornings on 2 takes you on a Fox Local zip trip to Brentwood. Welcome to our Fox Local zip trip here in Brentwood, California. A big hello to all the folks who came out to watch the show live here. This is beautiful park here in downtown Brentwood, and if you've been down here, you know how nice it is. It's got some great restaurants. If you haven't been here yet, you got to make your way down to Brentwood. It is a fantastic place. It is more than just maybe agriculture, like you might remember it. Right. It is a mix of agriculture and urban sprawl. You've got many people that are here. I've talked to folks who have lived here for decades and have seen it grow and got in here when it was just a small town. And still pretty, still pretty small, considering that you have all the agriculture to go with it. But it is a fantastic town, and the people here are great as well.
This is one of the biggest crowds we've had early on. So to the folks of Brentwood, you guys are amazing.